Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're here with another tutorial, but instead of a building one, this time we're going to be going over glitching. Specifically cancel placement, sinking, and floating. I know that there are other tutorials out there, but I wanted to make my own just so you guys have a reference on my channel. And I wanted to go in depth with you guys, that way you can understand exactly what it is I'm doing and what you're doing, and so you can also better utilize these glitches to do unique things with them. To start off, we're going to do setting up for cancel placement, and all that is putting something into your hotbar and taking it out via the number key. So that thing can be a decor item, builder's pieces, rugs, pillars, dressers, anything like that. It can be starred fish or starred food items or starred bugs that you can pull out of your inventory and place. And you can actually also use honey lures since it's a placeable item. So once you have any of these items in your inventory, you'll see in the bottom right hand corner that I have some building blocks and rugs and honey lures and whatnot. And this is called your hotbar. You will find one of these items within your hotbar and then look at what number key it is. So for example, my honey lure is number 1. If I hit the number 1 key and then left click to pull it out, that's cancel placement, as long as you are holding the item that you wish to cancel place when you do this. So say I want to cancel place this further back from where it is. I would just move back and then hit the number 1 key where my honey lure is, and it has temporarily locked this dresser into place without actually having moved it. It's still sitting right here, but now it's back here until I either pick it up or switch plots, whatever it is that you need to do in order to activate the glitch. It depends on how you're doing your setup, what you need to do. And so this cancel placement is usually used for moving things out of the way so that you can put something closer because of the collision box, or used to merge items, say put these two dressers together. So I'll show you what I mean. We're going to merge the two dressers. I place this right here like that normally. Say I want to merge this one. I can move this as close as I can and line it up. And then I would pick this up, put it out of the way, and then hit my number 1 key where my honey lure is, and it has temporarily locked that right there. Then from here, I would pick this up in the same exact spot, and then figure out exactly how far over I want to move it to merge it, and place it normally. Then all I would have to do is switch to a different plot like this, and then come back. And you'll see that the item that I cancel placed out of the way has now snapped back to its original position. Now, when cancel placing, as I said, it temporarily locks itself back here, but it's actually sitting up here. I have seen people recently referring to this as a ghost, or actual cancel placement as ghosting, and that's actually a completely separate glitch and has nothing to do with what we're doing here. So I'm not sure exactly where that confusion started, but if you go and you ask somebody, because it's now obsolete, if you can ghost or how to ghost, they're probably going to tell you you can't anymore, and then you'll get all sad because you'll think that you can't do this when you still can just because you've accidentally called it the wrong thing. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that if you have heard that before. Ghosting is actually something that we used to be able to do before the Elderwoods patch, where I would have a harvest house on a separate plot and say I wanted to put a room here where I normally couldn't, or have a freestanding room. I would have that harvest house on the second plot, take the room piece out of my inventory, and while holding it, switch plots and spam click, and what that would do would anchor it to the harvest house on the other plot, but show the room on the plot that I switched to. So that has nothing to do with merging items, sinking, or floating. Just so you guys are aware. But one neat thing that we have found, well, I didn't find, but people have found before me, if you move this back and cancel place it like that, and then you are to sit an item on top of that cancel placed item, and then either pick it up and place it, or switch plots and come back, then what that would do is say I had it sitting up here, but I cancel placed it back here. It leaves this item behind. So however far back cancel placed is how far back the item you sat on top will stay behind. And this is where you get sinking and floating. This would be your anchor, and this is your floated item. And how you manipulate how you move this item is how you get the sinking and floating. So if I were to put this on a shelf and cancel place it up higher than its original position, it would float. If I would cancel place it lower from its original position, it would sink. So to show you guys what I mean by that, I can come over to this shelf here on the wall, and I have these stone crates. Go ahead and put one on. And then we're going to place it, and then pick it up in the exact same spot, and then move it up. And then we're going to hit our number key to take out that honey lure like I showed you, or whatever item you're using, and it will temporarily lock that shelf up here. Then whatever item we choose to put on it, say this paper. I'm not going to high enough up. 1 second. I put this paper on top and then pick up my shelf and place it normally, it will float that paper. And if I were to do the opposite, place it and then move it down and cancel place it via the number key, taking an item out, and then put this on here, it will merge it. So if you guys can see, and this is also something I wanted to go over, if you accidentally mess up and say sync something like this and you didn't want to, if you turn your camera around just right and then look inside that item, it can be a little difficult sometimes. You'll see, for some reason I can't hear, but the green is showing up at a certain angle. You can grab that out of there. If not, you can try to get your camera to go inside the object by like slowly going out. Sometimes you need to set it up in a specific spot, high enough up, and then just slowly turn. It's not wanting to cooperate with me right now. I guess building blocks aren't great for that, but say this dresser, for example. I'll slowly move up. I'm now inside the dresser, and then I would be able to see the item that I had merged. Another way to get something unstuck, and also take note of this when you're sinking and floating on your harvest house, the front and back walls will merge and or explode items away from themselves, and I'll show you what I mean. If I have these two right here on top of each other, and then I take my shelf and say I put it on the back of my harvest house, and then I put these on here, because I put them together before I put them on the shelf, it exploded them or pushed them away from each other and floated them naturally. But if I take it off the shelf and put it back down, they snap back together. And if I were to take them and put them together on the shelf, and then take them off, they would merge together. And so you can use this for glitching as well. So just keep that in mind if you are using shelves on your actual house. Just use the side, unless you do want this to happen with whatever you're using. And it's great for getting merged items out of things that you didn't want in there. Where did I leave off? Oh yes. So I showed you basic cancel placement in order to merge items or to get something closer. And I showed you that if you put an item on top, anything that you put on top of that cancel placed item will stay behind in the location where you cancel placed. I showed you basic sinking and floating. And oh, I also wanted to go over the fact that, again, if you are using a shelf and you start rotating, this makes a difference, big difference. So, for example, I'll go ahead and show you guys. We'll use the plushie. If I want to, say, float him at an angle, I would place my shelf at the angle, pick it up in the exact same spot, and cancel place it horizontally. Pick up our little plushie and place him on your anchor. I'm just going to use the shelf itself, and then pick up and place normally, and you'll see I turned the shelf to the right, so the top of the shelf was facing this way, but he actually turned that way. So the top of your item, if you turn right, will go left, and if you turn the top of the shelf to the left, it will go right. So I guess a plushie wasn't the best example to show you guys what I mean by that. Let's use a more standard. And this time we'll go to the left. Place normally, pick it up in the exact same spot, cancel place horizontally. Take your bug, put it on the shelf, and pick up and place the shelf normally. And again, I turned the top of the shelf to the left, but the bug, the top of his little terrarium, is going to the right. Also, the way in which you move items for distance changes as well. So, say if I turn my shelf to the right, up is no longer up, down is no longer down. Up would now be right, because that's where the top of the shelf is. Down would be left. Up would now be left. And down, or I'm sorry, right would now be down. So whichever way you have this, just keep that in mind. So again, if I were to turn it the opposite direction, up is now left, down right, up is now right, down is now left. So that way you know which way to move this in order to float something. To give an example, let me see what I have. Say I want to make an L with these chests. I would take my chest, and this piece would be the anchor piece. Put it up on my shelf, and let's, excuse me, let's turn it this way, so that the piece is that way. And sometimes it'll flip on you like that, and it can be a bit of a pain. One way you can check to make sure you're still in the right spot, even if it's jumping, is just turn it back to the way it was, and then let go of it by right-clicking. And if it stays in the same spot, you are where you're supposed to be. So see how it moved a half of one over? I was a little bit too far over. See how it's jumping? Just follow it. until it stops moving when you let go. And then you know you're in the right spot. So now we want to cancel place it horizontally. Again, by hitting the number key to take a decor item, star, bug, fish, or even honey lure out. And then place your item on top. Pick up in place. And you'll see that it didn't make the L that I want to make. It's actually hanging further down and a little bit away. So how you would get your L is you can look at these squares on the wall, and you'll see it's about 1.5 small squares till it's touching this one, back this way, and it's about 1.5 small squares this way. So what you would do is take this off of here, and then remember those measurements, and then do it again. So we would need, let me see, 1.5 to the left, and 1.5 up. So let's go ahead and turn our shelf again. Make sure we're picking up in the exact same spot. And then move 1.5 to the left, and 1.5 up. Turn our shelf horizontal. Pull out our number key item, and it'll lock it into place. Add our top piece. Pick up in place. And I went in the wrong direction. See? Even though I needed it to go that way, because of the way that my shelf was turned, I was thinking in normal directions and went the wrong way. So instead of 1.5 to the left, we would go 1.5 to the right. So one more time. Place it. Horizontal. 1.5 small squares up. 1.5 small squares to the right. Pull out our item to cancel place. One more crate. Place our item on top normally, and then pick up the shelf in place. And it's still messing with me. What am I doing? One second. As you can see, I've been doing this for a long time, and even I mess up a lot. So I need to go 1.5 down and 1.5 to the left. Now let go of that initiative. To place that horizontally. I'm sorry. I'm getting a cold. Go ahead and place that on top. And there we go. That time it was correct. And there's our little L. So obviously, depending on where you turn it and how you turn it, it's going to be different. But as long as you can figure out exactly how many little squares or large white squares away in any direction that you need to place something, you can move it however you want. So you could do something even like, I guess I can give you guys a sneak peek. Once you get more used to glitching with cancel placement, sinking, and floating, eventually you'll be able to make stuff like this. This is a Greek bathhouse that I've been working on, and it has a lot of glitching, even though it looks very plain and simple. it has a ton of cancel placement. For example, these. We grab the correct one. So these were cancel placed to make the corner pieces. And then these were cancel placed and merged to give the little step design. Or these were anchored to each other in a circle. So these are actually all one piece, and I can move this however I want. Or this little thing right here to give the lip. Or even the doorway. All of this was cancel placement, sinking and floating in order to merge things. Even the archway. So this gives you an idea of just like how far you guys can go with this. Again, my building's kind of plain, but I've seen absolutely ridiculous things made with cancel placement, sinking, and floating. But, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I tried to go over as much of it as I could with you guys. I probably did speed through it a little bit just because I was trying to think of how to go over everything. But if you need a more in-depth explanation, go ahead and let me know. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. See you next time.
Yeah.
Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.